Hi, long time no see. I figured we'd jump in and do some cards. Get caught up while I'm in the midst of transitioning from one thing to the other. Got kind of this, I'm going to call it like a dead space, an open space, a waiting space, just wait space. It's been a little bit since I've done this on this platform, huh? We'll shuffle in. Just like before, if you jump on and you have questions, feel free to ask. If you come across this at a later time, hopefully there's some insights in here for you. If you feel called to book a personal reading with me, you can. If you want to leave a donation, you can. I'll put my Venmo information down here. I'm currently running a fundraiser as well, and in the midst of a number of things. Wheel of Fortune came out first. If you're curious, I have the New Chapter Tarot. Going into a new chapter, starting something new, thinking about starting something new, taking chances with that Wheel of Fortune. Let me see, I think I might pull out 5. Let me see if anything jumps out. Hermit again. Hermit keeps popping out. Hermit, Wheel of Fortune. Me personally, I've been very much in this hermity space and in a space of consolidation. Consolidate, concentrate, focusing on what is at the very core of me and what it is that I want. Concentrating. I'll look at the meaning in the book too here in a minute. Knight of Discs. Hopeful, perhaps, but beginning on a journey. There might be some questioning just as far as purpose. Am I doing the right thing? Being exhausted. Let's do 2 more. 3 more. These 3 came out. Strength. 6 Cups and Justice. I think a lot of emotional things are definitely going to be pouring out, or it's an opportunity kind of in this transitionary space of taking new risks and opportunities of things coming out, opening up, but bringing balance into it all. It's not an easy time at all for anybody. Strength is definitely going to be required. There's something about focusing in here too. Queen of Discs. It's the Knight of Discs to the Queen of Discs. I'm going to look at the discs part of it first. Material aspects maybe, or trying to make new money, needing a new job opportunity to start. Again, kind of being in that transitionary space. Being pragmatic. Achievement of goals and wishes through patience and hard work. Tangible rewards can be reached through steady progression. There are no shortcuts to success. The Knight encourages you to accept responsibility for your own health and happiness. Nobody is going to do it for you. Nobody's going to come along and save you. Nobody's going to give you exactly what it is that you're looking for. I'll come back to the Wheel of Fortune too, because it's going to take a lot of strength in this transition and it's going to take a lot of hard work. Maybe you want to give up. Maybe you're wondering if it's ever going to happen or if it's ever going to pay off for you. But more focusing and more focusing and more focusing. Wheel of Fortune is a 10, so the end of a cycle, but beginning of a new cycle and the opportunity to do something new, changing circumstances. What you thought was a given comes into question. The Wheel of Fortune may hold hard decisions in a time of transition. As the wheel turns, preconceived notions are shaken. This is a reminder that change is the only given. Hold on, a tectonic shift is coming, but this might be exactly what you've been waiting for. Might not look what you want it to look like. Things often come into play in unexpected ways, but we have to clear out and open up opportunities for things to happen. Again, consolidate, concentrate, just be you. We'll look at the transition and maybe why the transition happened or why it's happening. Mostly to bring balance to things that have been out of balance. Strife, disillusionment, emotional conflict. You must let go of an unfulfilled expectation, even if it's painful for you. The Five of Cups invites you to see people as they are, not as you hope them to be. Letting go of that idealized vision is painful but necessary. Take a moment to mourn the loss of what could have been, but accept that which is. Emotional losses or something just forcing you to have to make this change. Again, it's the end of a cycle and going into a new cycle. Which is probably why you've had some sort of emotional heartache or some sort of emotional loss, whether it's death of friends and family, or separations, breakups. It all feels really heavy, but I think that's why the Strength card is definitely here, because it's going to take more strength than normal to be able to get us back into this state of balance. But it's necessary. What do I want to look at next? I'm going to look at the Queen of Discs, because she's on here. And I think ultimately, once you get through the difficult aspect and look at things as they are instead of as you want them to be, that's why expectations are tough. One of my favorite sayings, or the way I like to approach things, high standards and low expectations. So have high standards for what it is that you want and expect nothing less. Don't settle for things that you don't necessarily want. The things that may be showing up are more about what you need versus what you want, because what you want might be that idealistic thing or something imaginary, or like there's a disconnect. Do you want to reconnect it? I'm not sure that you want to reconnect it. I think you need to connect into something different. Whatever is meant for you will be meant for you. Kind, nurturing, protective. Tend the garden of your emotional and physical needs. The Queen's domain is that of self-love and care. Foster and find the beauty and comfort around you. This will lead to gentle and steadfast growth that can sometimes appear too slow from the outside. Calm and centered, you can build a safe world around yourself. That's part of what this one is asking for you too, is getting into that space where you're very comfortable and connected to yourself and who you are and what it is that you want, and giving yourself the space to process the emotional stuff. And things will come forward, but absolutely right now this is I think for maybe something more on a collective level, people are being asked to or learning how to be more autonomous, being able to take care of themselves, whether things are inaccessible or, I don't know, there's something about shortcuts too. There are quicker, faster, shorter ways of getting to this place of resolve or resolution. Recapitulating. That's another word that I really like. Recapitulating. I won't go too much into it, but it was something my shamanic teacher had taught me. And a word that had come up the other day, too, something about recapitulating. What is recapitulating? Basically, resetting, re-energizing, refueling, maybe reconnecting in different ways, but it's calling back the energy that is lost or has been given in different situations. It's really important to do. The High Priestess is here, is balancing all of that out, balancing out the energetic fields. Part of this, when you take care of yourself and put your wellness first, don't expect or anticipate or put that pressure on somebody else to have to take care of you. You have to take care of yourself to balance out all of those in order to connect into something much greater, much deeper. I guess this goes into the evolutionary thoughts or ideologies. If humans are evolving, right? We're evolving out of this Homo sapien to sapient body, and we're evolving into our light body, the Homo luminous body. And my favorite idea or concept behind the Homo luminous is giving ourselves the capacity to heal. We have it within our consciousness and our capacity to tap into ourselves on a quantum level and resolve things energetically from that space, from this space of consciousness. And the more that I dive into and research consciousness, the more I'm a firm believer in that. But it's belief systems. The mystery of the triple goddess, Athena as goddess of knowledge, Mami Wada bringing devotees into the spirit world or to gain knowledge, Kali as goddess of creation and destruction. The High Priestess holds dominion over secrets lost and guarded, an invitation to seek beyond the realms of patriarchal justice or logic to tap into the creative urge of the universe. This is your initiation into the mystery, so look deeper. Happy Women's Day. Speaking of which, right? And it's talking about that evolution or that transitionary space between what was and what will be, and collectively we're in that transitionary space between the Aquarian and the Piscean, or the masculine and the feminine, the knowledge and the emotion, and it's a very murky, uncomfortable space, I think, for a lot of people, but it's important. It's like things are being filtered out, or I don't want to say separated, more organized, but you have to separate things into categories, maybe to inventory or take stock of whatever is there. But it's kind of a like playful and nerving space to be in too, and it's one where if we want to grasp onto something or have control of something or have something tangible to ground us or give us a sense of support, it's not going to do what exactly it is that we want to do. When everything is all up in the air and you don't know what is going to happen, and there's kind of that free-falling feeling, it's succumbing. Maybe it's submitting to something, more going with the flow. It's hard because I think people have a lot of different questions about where they're going or where they want to go, or they just want to be handed or given the answer without having to take accountability and do the work, or having the responsibility of doing it. People are holding on to an old paradigm that's not serving the whole, it's just serving your interests, your more immediately gratified interests. I think this is the thing that people are having the hardest time letting go of. Not like anybody's way is right over another person's, but what is right for you is not going to be right for another person. Both sides are considered and the truth is found. Justice is Hecate, is the Grey Lady, planted on the threshold of life and death. She appears before a tough decision that signals an end or a beginning. Be brave when she appears, for she is fair and honest. She will deliver what is owed to you, but also consider what you might owe. Plead your case to the universe, and it will show you a just way forward. Consider what you owe first, energetically and such. I'll pull in the Crow, too, to kind of look into some of this. Because, like, when you're not really sure what to do, you have a lot of options and opportunities, kind of like I do in this moment. I had this really strong picture in my head yesterday of a horse race, and having multiple horses in this race, and not necessarily betting on one over the other, but one of these horses has got to cross that finish line. I mean, they all might cross that finish line at some point or another. But, like, which do you choose? Maybe it's not really up to you to choose either. Sometimes all you can do is feed the horse, you know, go through the exercises, and then once you put it behind the gate and you wait for the gun to shoot or something to go off to mark the beginning of the race, all you can do is, like, watch and wait. There's not really anything super active that you can do in that moment. You have to be very passive. 8 wands are coming forward. It's like, take your shot. And as long as you're aiming up, you can't really miss. But I'm not sure if you know what your target is. Do you have to know what your target is? Maybe not necessarily. Because I get this a lot, kind of in my thoughts and feelings about starting up this transformation guide, where if you're trying to reach into the dark to bring people into the light, or whatever that is, or if you're unsure kind of what is behind that veil, but you know something is there, or even like when you're fishing, sometimes you just have to throw the line in and then trust that whatever it is that you catch is yours and is meant for you. But there's a lot of heaviness, and it's just going to take a lot of strength to get through this point in time right now. And, like, personal wherewithal. And I think if you try to reach out to, I had this thought the other day too, in trying to connect with friends and family, or if you have an issue or something that you're trying to resolve, don't go to friends and family. Seek professional help, whatever that may look like to you, because you can't trust the friends and family with the information. Their advice is going to be clouded or biased towards whatever it is that they want. And you're trying to listen to what it is that you really want. So you have to go in the space of trusting yourself. I know that sounds tough, huh? Swiftness and high-flying energy, optimism and joy, the good kind of busy that feels energizing. You're doing what you're meant to be doing. Act now, let loose your arrows, take aim toward what you long for, and let fly toward the goal. This is the essence of freedom, kind of in that free falling. I don't know if you've ever been skydiving before, but it's interesting because when you're that far up and you have this bird's eye view and this bird's eye perspective of things, you decide to make this leap, right? This leap of faith, or you take this chance. You free fall. And there's just this rush, and it doesn't even feel like the ground's getting any closer because it takes so much time. But it's loud and it's noisy, and it's like things are so far, especially if you're going so quickly. But if you pull your chute, if you're prepared, right, if you're taking a safe route towards this, as you allow yourself to kind of float down gently, the wind is going to carry you. kind of have an idea about where you want to land, but where exactly you land is going to be dependent on everything else. And there's something about that drop when the chute happens or the chute opens where all of a sudden it's silent. It's so quiet. And it's one of the things I think I remember most when we did get to go skydiving. It's when we finally pulled the chute and we're floating down and you're however many miles up in the air. It's quiet. So peaceful. Like you can hear things and see things in a way or from a perspective that otherwise you don't experience, but you're not going to know what it's like until you make that jump or take that leap. Look at Ace of Swords. There's 3 different dynamics in here, and there are 3 different dynamics in here. Mind, body, spirit is coming to mind, especially if you're working on yourself and doing these sort of things in this space. Make sure you're focused on mind, body, spirit, all 3 of those. Ace of Swords, making new connections, cutting through things. Well, it's interesting because if you look at this picture too, very much looks like a top-down view or some sort of like bird's eye view of the world or whatever's going on, or the earth, something tangible. Air, it's all air signs too. Things are up in the air. Ooh, not comfortable to be in, is it? But it's cutting through. Like, you just have to keep working and keep working and keep working. Especially as a collective, because I feel like if we kind of give up or kind of succumb to this patriarchy, things aren't going to change or aren't going to get any better. And so we're being asked to do things in a new way, in a way that hasn't been done before. And I think in that innovative space, kind of in that transition area, it's hard to know what the outcome is going to be, especially if it's never been done before. So it's hard to hold an idealistic expectation about the outcome when whatever it is that you're creating is beyond you, or beyond I don't want to go that way. The essence of the element of air, which represents the intellect, our mental capacities, and how we might use them. It's direct, sometimes harsh, intelligent, sometimes cold, cut right to the heart of the matter, but can also swing wildly into anxious overthinking. We all have these faculties, and how we use them is what matters. I don't know, you have to get right to the point of it all. I'm going to pull out some more in this crow. If you have questions and you're watching, feel free to ask. You can put them in the comments, or you can hold thoughts in your mind. Because it is an odd, funky space. There's nothing, like, super coherent, really, to grasp onto other than, like, this way. In these, like, lateral fields, things are, moving and they're hard to grip onto, and you know, at the end of the day you realize all you ever really have truly is yourself, right? So you can't grab onto things in the lateral way, so you grab onto things, I guess this would be the lateral, like in a horizontal fashion, but connecting to the ground, connecting to the spirit, right? Getting everything into greater alignment, sourcing in new information, kind of releasing detachments from the physical world, and getting into this space of energetic frequency in order to be able to resolve things in such a way. This is the Crow Tarot. I'm going to kind of shift new chapter up, because in this new chapter, like it hasn't started yet. It's like you got the book, you got the paper, you got the pens, you got the seat, the chair, but you have to start writing. This one might be bringing some of these elements together, bringing the heart center together. Two of Cups. Maybe this has to do with relationships or partnerships, but I feel like it's got more to do with bringing pieces of yourself together, the past, the future, the good, the bad, or taking these dichotomies within the self and turning them into something more singular. What do you have to say for us here? Your heart's very open and your heart's very exposed. We're in this space. The mind is there, yes, right, in this kind of cold and calculating, get the things done sort of a way, but as a means to bring solid feelings into the heart. I have this, like, sensation, too, of things being very much on display. And it's making me uncomfortable. So I wonder, like, the way people display themselves in public or in couples, the way it's displayed is inaccurate. There's something about a facade. Where are you, Cups? They share the energy of water traveling between two cups and a divided heart. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I do this? Do I do that? If I can't be here, we're like these like what ifs, how come, like that thinking, whatever space is really taking over here. Is it this? Is it that? Look, even this one has two different like elements to it. The Chariot too, two different elements to it. Even this teacher between here, he's kind of between two different elements and trying to decide. Three discs is where everything kind of comes together. There has to be a third element in order to have that balance or to maintain that. Between them is the caduceus, symbolizing negotiation and partnership. The Two of Cups may represent a new romantic relationship. It may also foretell of a robust and confident business relationship. Together, the pair is balanced and equally satisfied and share a unified vision. Karmic connections. Doesn't have to be a romantic connection. A magnet is coming to mind. Like if you're a positive, it will attract a negative. If you're a negative, it will attract a positive. One isn't better than the other, but both are necessary. You kind of have to have how do I put it? Like only after you go into this space of like hermetic mode to align things is when you're going to come into this partnership or have business partnerships, or there's going to be it's just waiting and waiting and waiting. Patience pays, wait, good things will come. Consolidate, concentrate, just be you. If you're not being truly authentically you, things that are going to be attracted to you are going to be repelled. Like if you're positive, trying to attract the positive, it's going to repel it. Negative, trying to attract the negative is going to repel it. Your 5 coins. Almost spilled something. He's really frustrated. Angsty, anxious. it's like it's multiplying outwards. So when we go inwards, we align and we begin to exude our energies back out, the natural progression goes from self to couple to community, or self to partner to community. There's this connection kind of between everything. Tells the story of two different groups of crows. The first group is comfortable and warm, roosting in the tree. The second group battles a headwind as they hop along the frozen ground, unable to see that relief is just a short distance away. The crows on the ground may have lost everything, but they take comfort in the fact that they still have each other. This card serves as a reminder that even when it all appears lost, there are still opportunities if we look for them. It also serves as a reminder to feed your spirit by focusing less on materialism and more on relationships. That could even be your relationship with yourself. I think our relationship with ourselves is going to determine our relationships with other people. And it's not like that thing where, you have to love yourself before you go and get into a loving relationship. I don't like that, because that creates that idealistic expectation of we have to be perfect, or we have to be something very specific in order to deserve havingness, or in order to deserve having something. But I feel like, especially when it comes to wealth in the collective, there's a strong disparity between those who have and those who don't have. And it feels like that gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it feels like that gap is getting even bigger to have to cross. But I think that's where some of the innovative stuff will come in, kind of through that cold and discomfort. You'll be forced to do something new, or you'll be forced to innovate. It's hard when you have to start over, start fresh, and start from nothing. And I've had to do it a handful of times, and I'm in that space right now, having to start again from the bottom up. And I feel like there's kind of this dichotomy maybe of I have everything that I need in order to succeed, but I also don't have a lot of resources I need in order to stay on top of things at the moment. And so there's like this angst of like, and like almost being frozen in place. Because what little we have, although it can, like if you have one seed can lead to hundreds of fruits. And you know this about this seed, and you know that the seed has to be planted in just the right conditions, and it has to be nurtured, and it has to be cared for in order for all those fruits to come into fruition. But it's also easy to damage that seed, to lose that seed, misplace it, mistake it for another seed. But it's easy to hide, to like don't disclose. Ace of Cups. Pull out a couple more of these. A few more minutes here. Again, if you have any questions before we jump off, feel free to ask. Otherwise, please reach out to me for personal readings. There's Strength again. It's just going to take a lot of strength, and it's going to take a lot of mental wherewithal to talk yourself into getting through this hardship. But humans are pretty good at overcoming hardships. Resilient humans, right? Luminous humans. Let's do one more. Two more. Okay. Fine. Judgment again. Judgment, strength. kind of like justice and strength, and then Page of Wands. Let's talk about strength first. Lions are your big theme, having to be strong. What are you, 8? Inner strength, passion, virility, confidence. It's not through brute force that this crow has achieved the challenging goal of taming the wild beast. It is because she has mastered her ability to connect with a higher frequency, channeling trust and respect, right? So if you want to overcome the difficult things, it's not by working harder and fighting these difficult things that are outside of you, like calling into war, getting into a battle, or trying to get into this attack and defensive mode. It's not going to do anything. It's going to weaken you in the long run. But getting yourself grounded and then tapping into source, whatever that higher source is, and aligning yourself again with an energetic frequency, a literal energetic frequency, this is what is going to overcome things. There's a resilience in literal vibrational aspects. We're looking not like that, like woo-woo, raise your vibration, although maybe there's a literal aspect to that too, but getting into this the quantum mechanical aspect of it, looking at the science of spirituality, but doing that work. Positive energy she radiates enables the crow to balance confidently on the lion's nose, not in conquest, but out of mutual respect. Again, this isn't about winning and losing, or taking something that somebody doesn't have. We're not trying to conquer anything. We're trying to balance things out. There are a lot of people who want to be the best and be wealthy and be famous and like get into this space of competition. And I want to say, like, even supportive competition, there's still like, there's a funky energy there to it. Like the millionaire coaches who are teaching you to be millionaires. I've been having a lot of thoughts about this because I'm not sure that the material wealth is validating the quality of information or even energy that you're receiving. I feel like it's feeding into a paradigm that somehow like scaffolding, trying to uphold this tower, or trying to resurface this tower that ultimately is going to crumble and come tumbling down. I think if you're at a space with nothing, at that ground zero level, at that bottom of the barrel level, you have more opportunity and more hopes and more room to grow than anybody else does. You have a freedom there that nobody else does. Let's look at Ace of Cups. And we still have more here. The crow has learned to remove her ego, quieting the hum of fear, allowing her to hear the inner guidance of higher consciousness. Again, back to the hermit. Eliminating all the clutter, the chatter, anything around you that energetically could somehow be diffusing a situation or infusing a situation. Like you want to fuse, but you want to infuse or defuse. You want to bring things together. but not without losing more or taking on anything unnecessary. It is from this place she wields the true power of strength. The strength card suggests you'll have an experience that requires you to summon the power that comes only from exercising inner peace and freeing yourself from the influences of ego and fear. And I think for those of us who have had to go through the major losses or just haven't had much, you're more comfortable or familiar with that space of uncertainty or that space of fear where you can maintain calmness and maintain an inner peace. Whereas somebody who hasn't experienced that necessarily, or maybe somebody who uses material things to cover the fear, or is using a material world for distraction, those are the ones that can't stay calm. Those are the ones that have a difficult time with this sort of energy, that direct word sort of energy, where they're, especially if you're calm and balanced and come at something very direct, the reactions and responses you're going to get back aren't going to be what you would hope for. So strengthen that. Kind of holding on to your truth, the truth, a higher truth. It's very simple. It's very simple, and people are trying to complicate things that don't need to be complicated, and they're bringing in layers and layers of emotions that are either too far in the past or too far in the future, and they're informing their relationships and interactions and whatnot with you, and it can be quite disorienting in the larger scope of things. Let's go to Page of Wands, because I feel like there's a lot to say, or you kind of want to like scream it at the rooftops, so to speak, or share and express these grievances. It's a messenger of good news, brings ideas and creative outlook on life that illuminates any room. Vibrant, youthful energy is powerful enough to spark a change in direction or push an original project forward. She loves adventure, and although she's ready to travel anywhere, her wings will take her. She's not reckless. The page brings free-spirited energy to the situation and is prepared to take in all the world has to offer. Right? Just allowing. Let's look at Ace of Cups. I don't know, I might intermittently jump back into this space a little bit, kind of as I'm in the midst of my own transition. Though I've been trying to gravitate myself away from Facebook Lives to a different platform. But I've been being called to and asked to address and deal with all these other things that are calling my attention first. Feels a lot like clearing out all the extras, the dust, or just eliminating anything that doesn't fully align with it, and having to release and let a lot of things go. Like, good things are going to come out of it, but you have to clear out the old to make way for the new. And that's kind of like a, maybe a hollow space of waiting. Because after you've cleared out a lot, especially if you've had a lot in there for a long time, if you clear it all out, it can feel a little, again, unnerving or just uncomfortable, right? Because it's like, well, now what? Well, now what do I put around me? Now what do I fill in? It's kind of a beautiful space to be in, too. Like, I don't really feel like we have to necessarily have answers or have it all together or have something super solid in place. there's a North Star and there's a direction, there's something that we're aiming towards. And I think being open to things being better than you could have ever imagined for yourself is probably most important. So we get really attached to these ideals. I think I know best. I think I know exactly what it is I want. I have this vision and this is where I'm going. But it limits you to all the other infinite possibilities that exist around you. And it creates a box or a container to live in, which further constrains you. And it limits your freedoms. And though you may have some liberties within that container, you're ultimately attached to that container because those liberties would disappear without it. The crow sits at the edge of the cup, connecting with the profoundly intuitive energy of the water that is overflowing into 5 streams representing the 5 senses. Pink lotus flowers float in the water, symbolizing purity and awakened spirit. That's, I think, what a big part of this clearing out is purifying. Purify with water, with fire, with air, using the elements to purify the spaces, the energetic spaces, and getting out of these conditioned frameworks of thought processes that have shaped your belief systems, right? It's hard for people to break down those walls and entertain new ideas and concepts. Because if one illusion is shattered and their whole world comes crashing down and people can't really function in that space, so it's not necessarily safe to ask everyone to go through the same experiences. Okay. The crow sits at the top of the edge of the cup, or sits at the edge of the cup, connecting with the profoundly intuitive energy of the water that is overflowing into 5 streams, purity and awakened spirit, denotes the start of a beautiful, loving relationship, and offers the opportunity for fulfillment in both the spiritual and physical realms. You're feeling drawn to those who are on a similar spiritual path as a way of creating more positive relationships. I think the biggest part out of this that I'm getting is that you're becoming, you're growing, you're evolving, something new is going to happen. There's an old piece of you that is gone. And that makes sense, and this is why I've created the transformation. I've been very focused on transformation and transforming myself, transforming the environment, transforming the mind, transforming the spirit, transforming the routines, transforming the foods or the substances that we put in. I don't think it necessarily matters yet, but we're holding space or creating space for something new to come in. What are we waiting for? Is there's some specific action we have to take while we're in waiting. What is it? There's that tower. Why are you wasting your resources on trying to put up scaffolding to uphold something that doesn't work? Something has ended and you're trying to hold on to it, or there's this nostalgia of trying to maintain something that was, or you're so familiar, especially in relationships, you're so familiar with the way it was in the first one, especially if it was a long-term relationship or a long-term marriage. You're very used to things being a certain way, so you have certain expectations for how things should play out. And if things in a new relationship don't look like that, you can't get mad. That's not fair to the new person or the new situations in your life to expect them to have to be like the good parts or the nostalgic aspects of what had come before. This is something new, and it's asking you and challenging you to also become something new, or to become more whole, or for you to become authentic. Because I think that first relationship was about money and security, where there's just been a constant voice in my head over the last few days of it was a marriage of convenience. Marry for wealth, don't marry for love. So people don't trust that love and those feelings. They don't trust their heart. They want to be more trusting of that material aspect of what can this person get me and do for me. Can they secure something in me because their wealth is going to be my wealth? And then it attaches onto the identity of the families and these things, and it makes it difficult to release. So that when you find new things, you're not going to be trusting of them, and you're probably going to push them away, which ultimately is going to leave you in this space of limbo even longer. This is drastic change, upheaval, catastrophe. Each night the crows gather to roost in the top of an old bell tower that sits on a hill away from the city lights. The tower has always provided a comfortable shelter that has offered security for young and old. That is, of course, until it didn't. The tower comes with a warning. Do not become too comfortable or complacent. Do not think for a moment that it all can be whisked away in a flash. Or that it all can't be whisked away in a flash, because it can. Just as quickly as it came into you, is as quickly as it can leave you. So think about that. Think about that. And what would happen if all of that came to you quickly did leave? Then where would you be? Then what would you do? What would you have, or what would you be without it? Can you imagine what a life would be that way? Mentally prepare yourself. That's what this one is too. This is that mental preparation. Being very honest with yourself. Being very grounded, right? The emotional body is going to change and adapt. That mental mind is going to give you direction if you set it in the right direction to begin with. Sometimes change happens and goes by virtually unnoticed, but not this time. You will feel it, and then it will shake your ground. How you manage this change will have a direct impact on how you fare in the future. The energy caused by this change may spark something within that will move you toward a better place. How the pieces fall are up to you. Change is inevitable, and when the tower appears reversed, it's a sign that you're doing everything in your power to prevent the necessary course of action. In doing so, you're delaying the experiences you need to learn to move forward. You need to move forward. You have to do things differently. We'll look at this one, and then we'll look at the Emperor, and then I gotta jump off of here. Feel free to Venmo me at Sweet Unicorn, Unicorn with a K. Reach out to me for private readings. I am available. I think I could use you as much as you could use me right about now. Let's look at Two Swords. There you are. So this is a lot about, again, staying in this alignment and in this state of peace and balance and calm as you're making these changes and as you're making these decisions. If you're not calm when you're making a decision, take some time to reflect and to ground yourself until you are in a space where you can make a decision. Being balanced on the blades of Two Swords, she calmly stays in place, unable to see the edges or where to safely hop to next. She's afraid of making a dangerous or painful mistake. The Two Swords suggest you may find it difficult to make a significant decision because you feel you're unable to see the full picture, or that there is valuable information that is being withheld. If you are feeling stuck, evaluate where the fear is coming from and look for the steps and information you need to proceed safely. And then into the Emperor. Take your time. Take your time and be patient. Do it right. Don't just rush into something and do something because the emotions in that moment are informing you. You're going to regret it. Take your time and be calm. And for goodness sake, do not engage in conversations or arguments with people who are of this elevated emotional whatever. Allow them the space and the peace to process it without taking on that energy. Stay calm. It's so hard, but breathe. A lot of fire energy, fire and transformation. I have the thought of like the phoenix coming up from the ashes. This is a very amazing, interesting time to make some changes if you're called to it. If you're not going to make the changes, then don't make the changes. But nothing changes for you and you don't feel like you're getting to where you're wanting to go, ask yourself why you're afraid of making changes. People get so comfortable with things as they are and then they stagnate. Nothing progresses, right? And they don't want to take these risks to do anything new because not only will you change, the environment changes around you, but the people change around you too. And when you tie your identity and who you are into the people that are watching you, right, or that are with you, it becomes very difficult, right? It's that enmeshment. It's very difficult to figure out who you are because it's just easier to do things as they are. Okay. The Emperor represents a masculine father energy, whereas the Empress offers abundant love and nurturing. The Emperor brings a solid foundation of order and rules that provide security and stability. Right, you have to have stable ground to stand on. If things below you are kind of wonky, everything's going to come crashing down eventually, right? Change is inevitable. The crow stands on a sword, a symbol of power and protection, authority, strength, and courage. The ram head on the throat represents leadership and initiative. The Emperor's energy brings order to chaos. He's not a dictator nor a taskmaker. He is, however, a strong leader and commands devotion through wisdom and integrity. Crows are known for passing information through their DNA to future generations to protect them from possible dangers. And I think this applies to humans as well, right? If we're evolving into Homo luminous, there's something within our genetic code and that capacity to transmit information. Consciousness is information, right, that is stored within these energetic components within our cells, right, and then they're released into our body consciousness. I'm not going to go too far into it, right? The Emperor sits on his throne, ready to share his knowledge to ensure all around him stay safe. Safety is so important. I don't understand why people are creating these spaces that are not safe spaces. It seems juvenile and so unwise and very informed by emotion. It is very important to generate safety. There isn't really safety. Safety is kind of an illusion, right? There's always something that can happen and that can go wrong, so maintaining that sense of safety is very important to your growth, to your well-being, to your relationships. If you don't feel safe, you can't grow. Channel his power in times of uncertainty. Through fearless determination and expertise, it will manifest success. Right? Getting out of the emotions, keeping things aligned, and allowing things to happen and allowing things to unfold. Thanks for joining me in on this space. Gotta go pick up my little guy from school. I am open and available for readings. Monday I will be available in person. Please reach out to me. Yeah. reach out to me. Please, please, please reach out to me if you're feeling called for a reading. I can do things remote. We don't have to work in person. I can write up something for you and send it to you. We can chat through video. We can chat through phone. However you want to do it. It's different for everybody. Anything else? I don't think so. Not at this moment. Okay, I'm gonna close out this space and hopefully chat with you soon. Will I be? I might come back here Monday to. We'll see. Okay, thanks. Love you. Bye.